Hello, I'm Fantastic and Fantastic, and today I'm going to be talking about the new 4 Choices Appreciation Medal gift dungeon that has just gone live in North America. So, as stated in my website article, you should not do that dungeon until you read thoroughly because it can be a little misleading. The reason for that is you have 4 different dungeons you could possibly enter and subsequently clear, but if you clear one, the other 3 disappear. And at the same time, the appreciation medal that corresponds with each of those dungeons doesn't actually show you which monster you could monster exchange them for, which just provides another layer of headache or hurdle for the average player. So with that in mind, it's best to actually look up what those appreciation medals can do, along with the fact that there are some more valuable cards compared to others, and they only come from certain appreciation medals. So with that in mind, I want to take the time to go through all of the different possible choices you can make with this gift dungeon. And if you are someone who has the pad pass, you will get a second bonus appreciation medal via in-game mail. You can read the official Gung Ho website post there, but you do have 90 days to clear this dungeon, so there's no immediate rush. You can sit on this decision for a little bit. You can do some various free rolls because there are numerous free rolls that are happening at this point in time before committing here. And for the pad pass, you will receive this extra medal whether or not it's a trial or you actually paid for it. And with this in mind, it's giving me more motivation to possibly purchase the pad pass for the very first time, because maybe I should treat myself once in a while. Either way, let's take a look at all the available appreciation medals and who they correspond with. So for Spring Forward, you can get either Giga, Grandis, or Yuri, and all these happen through the Monster Exchange system. Pad Appreciation Medal 2019 is Fagan Rai and Zaerog Core. For Spring Fest, you get Rex, Sarah, or Hera Luna. And for the Pad Appreciation Medal, I don't know why it's in a different text, you have Valkyrie Seal, Zeus Giga, or Athena Non. So the big question is, which one should I pick and pursue? And as a general blanket statement, there's no perfect answer for every single person out there. And the reason for that is because everyone has a different monster box, along with different goals, needs, team compositions, as well as level of progression of what they have played through. And certain cards will be more beneficial or meaningful for various players. And on the flip side, other cards will have much more merit for others. So let's take a look at each of these cards in greater detail. So for the Spring Forward category, Giga is a unique multi-step transforming card. And basically the idea is they have 7 unique transformation states, and they can change them by using their active skill. It won't change their awakenings, it won't change their base stats, but the icon will change and the active skill will also change. And they're basically going to cycle through various Rare Machine cards, and they will have that same active skill on a much faster or shorter cooldown. While this is a pretty cool mechanic, I feel, in theory, I don't think it plays out well in practice, because you are going to be playing through a dungeon and you've basically usually planned out what active skills you need for every single floor. And if you're constantly not having the right active skill from a card, well, that is going to be problematic and frustrating, along with the fact that, let's say they had one useful active skill, as soon as you used it, it's now something else and you can't reuse it later on. Cool mechanic, definitely outclassed by Grandis. So Grandis is, in my opinion, one of the top 3 cards to actually pursue in this event. And the reason being is because in his base form, he has a respectable set of awakenings. And when he transforms after 30 turns, he becomes a massively juggernauty powerhouse monofire sub that has tremendous damage output, along with huge health, and one of the most supercharged active skills in the game. And this is a supercharged active skill because he has such a long transformational time. It takes 30 turns, so you want to be rewarded appropriately, and you definitely are. For a 3-turn cooldown, you get +1 combo, you generate an entire row of fire orbs at the bottom, and 3 times attack for fire for a single turn. Basically, with this active skill, you're guaranteeing yourself that you will fully activate your monofire team's leader skill requirements, have enough combos, and the big burst to ensure whatever it is dies. Now, I want to talk about this 30-turn transformational kind of penalty, so to speak. And it is somewhat of a penalty, but at the same time, he still has a respectable body to be utilized. Like, these are not terrible awakenings. You don't have an active skill, but these are still reasonable awakenings. And he still has the same amount of weighted stats as he does when he transforms. So you're not losing out too much necessarily. So you can bring Grandis into longer content, such as like any of the arenas or Shura Realm. And on monofire teams, he's a truly stupendous solution. If you're using anyone like Gillian, Halloween Suo, Remu, Dante, or any other monofire lead, they can benefit from Grandis being on the team because he becomes oftentimes your VDP solution, your burst solution, and an orb changer on a fast cooldown. There's no real losing out with Grandis aside from waiting for those 30 turns, but as I already mentioned beforehand, you don't have to transform turn 1. You can transform later on in the dungeon, and you still be perfectly fine, along with the fact that he can take Machine Killer Latent, so he does deal massive amounts of damage against all those common machine spawns. For myself, I threw a Sara's weapon assist on top of him to give him more killers, more on-stat transfers, and he just blows things up in Shura Realm at least. So as a whole, if you have a mono fire team, you don't have Grandis, and you're looking for a powerhouse sub, Grandis might be your best choice from all the different cards available here. For Yuri, her evolved form is the strongest one because it provides a 2-turn active skill that creates 2 heart orbs while not overwriting water orbs, as well as increasing heart orb skyfall. So that's kind of cool, but the main application for Yuri is to be used as the second best choice on Norza teams for fulfilling the active skill clause. Norza has a 2-turn base cooldown but needs an active skill every single turn to fully trigger her leader skill. So the best outcome is you have a Norza as a sub and one of the Norzas is a leader. So 2 Norzas in total across a team. Now, if you don't have a Norza sub or a Norza whatsoever, you might be using like Gung Ho Yomi or Velkhana as your alternative leader to pair of Norza. And Yuri will still be your second best solution, but again, it's a second best choice. So unless you already have a team that is kind of ready-made, you already have the Velkhana or the Gung Ho Yomi along with enough subs to populate a viable team, this could be a meaningful trade. But at the same time, this is definitely a step down from using Norza as a sub. Norza as a sub is infinitely stronger compared to Yuri, but at the same time, you can clear plenty of content with Yomi Norza or Velkhana Norza, but it still may be a little bit more restrictive because we do have technically spicier, more exciting options. But if you're a player who has cleared relatively little content, you can form a team with them. This might be a meaningful card to actually acquire. For the Pad Appreciation Medal 2019, it is home to, I feel, 2 of the best cards in this lineup. Because Fagan Rai's Weapon Assist is one of the best weapon assists of all time when I think about it. I cannot think of a weapon assist that has been relevant for such a long period of time that has outpaced Fagan Rai's weapon because of the fact that it provides 2 team health, 1 skill boost, 1 cloud resist, and a 20-turn base cooldown, which makes it much more difficult to accidentally overcharge. So this type of weapon assist helps transforming teams, helps every team because it gives more health, and more health means more survivability, and the cloud resist is a universally helpful awakening to have. So as a general blanket statement, you can put this weapon assist on essentially any given team, and it's going to work well. It's just going to work well. And I didn't actually trade for Fagan Rai when their original medal came out in 2019. I got Zaerog, who was helpful as well, but there were many times where I wished I had this weapon assist. And because we're getting another Appreciation Medal chance with this event, I plan to personally get Fagan Rai for their weapon assist on both of my accounts because I've actually never rolled one on either of them. And it's just such a generically powerful weapon assist that can be used everywhere. I don't think it's really going to go out of style. It's going to be quite challenging to power creep this weapon assist. Like Amatsu's Loot does something similar, but it's Team RCV instead of Team HP. Pros and cons there, and the active skill is a little bit stronger, but remember, Amatsu is a 7-star top rarity from a 10 Magic Stone collab. You could potentially just trade this and have this right now instead of trying to get Amatsu. This might just be the better course of action. For Zaerog, his base form and his weapon assist are meaningful, but in his base form, he has high personal damage when he hits 7 or more combos, and he has an 1-turn active skill that cuts your health by 50% and provides 3 seconds of orb movement time. So Zaerog, the reason why I traded for him a long time ago is because attack while below 50% teams had some value, but this template of a monster was so rare and unique, we didn't really have anything else that could fulfill this exact specific role. And he still can definitely function on any team that relies on being low health, as well as having that 1-turn cooldown to easily inherit an active skill of your choice. The main drawback of his base form nowadays is that the premier attack while below 50% leader is Yux. And Yux doesn't need this health cutting, health control management. Like, they have a massive health pool to begin with. They can control their RCV or healing amount by using air and matching or not matching 4 connected hard orbs. And they're rarely going to actually match 7 or more combos. Yux teams match like 4 combos. Like when I play Yux and Shura Realm, I'm a 4 combo wizard. Like I'm killing things with 4 combos. It feels dirty, but it's efficient. And Zaerog is just losing out on half of his personal damage, so it makes him just less appealing of a choice. But at the same time, his weapon assist has gained significant value due to the resurgence of TPA on certain cards. So Zaerog's weapon assist is able to provide 2 TPA awakenings. The only card in North America that can do so. So this is obviously tremendously meaningful because it gives that owning card 2.25 times personal damage against any spawn when you match that TPA. So generally speaking, TPA has been an underperforming awakening because it's less efficient than 7 combos. It's 1.5, not 2 times bonus damage. And any monocolored team oftentimes needs to blob their combos, like as a row or a VDP. So the TPH is just not possible. You need to have a row plus a TPA, inefficient overall. But due to the fact that rainbow teams don't have to match blobs, and we're starting to see more cards with numerous TPA awakenings, it makes it so it's much more lucrative to actually match a TPA. For instance, Astalos, Raijin, and Base Sophie all have large attack stats. They have many TPAs as well as other personal damage awakenings, which in turn grants them large amounts of damage against any spawn. So inheriting this weapon assist on top of them gives them another 2.25 times damage compared to any other weapon assist with a single TPA, which is only 1.5 times bonus damage. This is a tremendous large deal in terms of damage output because cards that utilize this weapon assist oftentimes have the VDP latent, and they're going to be your only card that can pierce through void spawns. So you want them to deal as much damage as possible, and Zaerog's weapon assist does that. So if you have a Raijin, you have an Astalos, you have a Base Sophie, and you plan to use them for a modest period of time, or you are gaining great value from them, this weapon assist could be one of the most valuable additions to your monster box because you're giving your hardest hitting card even more damage against every spawn. It's nice because these TPA cards are effective against every spawn. They're not like killer-based solutions, which tend to falter against mono-type spawns. You do full damage against every spawn. It doesn't matter which one you are. For the Spring Fest medal, Rex has a 2-turn cooldown, which can convert all hazards into wood orbs and then give you bonus orb movement time. With 2 Rexes, you could create a weird system, but I don't think it's really viable. I don't have a Rex. I would never really want to own a Rex, I feel. His damage output is kind of low. It doesn't have that many TPAs, doesn't have many 7 combos, doesn't have much high attack. It's just not like Astalos, Raijin's Base Sophie level. So I feel like Rex is just a poor choice to pick at this point in time. For Echidna Sara, her weapon assist is her strongest form because it provides an attacker and a physical killer. And each of those provide 3 times personal damage to the owning a card when you face that respective spawn. So it's a great way to layer in additional damage to your hard-hitting cards. And these typings obviously will line up better in certain dungeons, but even in, say, like Alt-Shura Realm, these typings do have merits against many of the durable spawns towards the end of the dungeon. Like they have machine typing plus, say, attacker or physical for the Minoas, so it can allow that owning card to deal even more damage against them. It's just a matter of lining up the killers you have for the dungeon at hand, but having a weapon assist that provides 2 is obviously way better than a weapon assist that provides 1. And with Sara's weapon assist, it provides a 2-turn delay, which can be inherited on a card with a low base cooldown to provide 2 additional effective skill boosts for helping you transform or even stall. Even just stalling later on in Shura Realm is meaningful. Hera Luna's weapon assist gives you a single skill boost and an attack while below 50%, which means that owning card gets 2 times personal damage whenever they are below 50% health. And this is basically a dream weapon assist for any farming team because the vast majority of farming teams want to be below 50% because it's just most efficient. You don't need to match many combos, high amounts of damage output can stack with rows. So having a skill boost to ensure your actives come up on time and that owning card gets 2 times personal damage on top of whatever they deal is meaningful. Now, at this point in time, we do have Yux, and Yux is the premier leader at this point in time who can play through things like Shura Realm while being low health. And this weapon assist can be definitely helpful. It does provide additional damage. It helps you transform a little sooner. It's just quite a universally helpful weapon assist. It's not as universally helpful as, say, Fagin Rise, which is probably the best one, but this weapon assist has quite a few applications, and it can be a meaningful choice, especially if you already have the other cards I mentioned. For the Pad Appreciation medal, Valkyrie Seal's weapon assist is kind of like Sara's in that it provides a balance and an attacker killer. So 2 different killers, more flexibility. But one thing I want to mention about this is that it doesn't have that delay, which can be a bit of a drawback, but it also has killers that are quite relevant, especially in Alt Arena 4, where the later spawns have that balance typing, and balance typing is actually quite a common typing in Alt Arena 4. So if you are playing through Alt Arena 4 and you just want more offensive prowess for your damage dealing cards and you have space to inherit something, this could potentially be a meaningful weapon assist. But of course, you shouldn't disregard the other options if you find they give more value. Zeus Giga, I don't feel like it's a meaningful card at this point in time. In their base form, they have some light rows, they have a high attack multiplier when you are full health, but the problem is staying full health is quite difficult. Any kind of preemptive is going to make you go sad. There are many other farming leaders available who have higher multipliers. It's just not kind of where we want them to be. And their weapon assist provides that full bind immunity and 4 light rows, which is cool, but at the same time, I feel it's highly situational for the players who would want to use this. As a general statement, I don't think the average player will gain much merits from using Zeus Giga in either form, but for those who are truly gung-ho about farming content, it might be meaningful. But at the same time, I've used the farmable Zeus verse, and it's worked pretty well for myself. And then lastly, we come to Athena Non. And Athena Non can function as a reasonable Raijin sub because she has double 7 combo, she has 2 TPAs, she can get those machine killers, she can get machine killer latents, she has tremendously high base attack, so she can be a wonderful damage solution for Shura Realm. The main problem is she doesn't provide anything else for the team aside from damage. Like, she does have damage output, but her color coverage doesn't help the team because Raijin oftentimes pairs with Fasca, who provides the wood sub-attribute anyway, so the wood is moot here. And her active skill breaks activation, which is a problem because her active skill creates dark to light and then water to heal. So the net effect is you have a board with lots of light, lots of heal, you have fire, and you have wood orbs. That's 3 colors and hearts. Raijin needs 4 colors to activate. That's a big no-no. You can't activate. Problematic there. So I feel like it could function as a damage solution, but if you have other things like Astalos or whatnot, you're going to have more value from them, I feel, as a whole, because Astalos at least covers a different color, and their base active skill actually does something for the team, unlike Athena Non. So reasonable offensive solution, but not the greatest overall, I feel. So in conclusion, I love free stuff. I love having the chance to acquire a card of my choice instead of just pulling it at random and just being disappointed with a duplicate of someone I never used anyways. But the biggest challenge of this event is actually understanding what each medal corresponds to. So I feel like it is meaningful to actually take a look at what they correspond to. And if I had to pick a top 3 from this as like an overall blanket statement for every player, I feel that Grandis, which is a spring forward medal for a mono fire sub prowess, is one of the best to acquire, along with Fagan Rye for their weapon assist and Zaerog Core for their weapon assist, and both of them come from the Pad Appreciation Medal 2019. Those 3 I feel provide the most value at this point in time for the most variety of situations. Again, this is just a general blanket statement. Like, you have 90 days to decide. You can sit on this for a couple of months and still be okay. So there is no rush to choose. But once you do make a decision, let me know in the comments below who you chose and your rationale behind them. For myself, as mentioned before, and I plan to actually choose Fagan Rye because I don't have them on either account, and I would love to have that sweet, sweet Cloud Resist weapon assist. But either way, hopefully all have a fantastic day. I wish you all the best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.